and welcome to the Chronically Healthy Life Show. When you hear the word chronically, do you automatically associate it with chronic disease? We all do. It's been programmed into us. But what if we flip that whole idea on its head? Let's discover how we can create chronic health in our bodies, our minds, our finances, our relationships, and our lives. Welcome to the place where chronically means healthy, wealthy, joyful, and ridiculously alive. Let's flip the script together. So today I am so happy to be joined by my cohort in crime here, the host of the Chronically Healthy Life Show, Andy Nam, and with our one of our fabulous collective members, Amanda Beth, who is an intuitive healer. Andy's a longevity expert, and I'm Kristy Boyd Johnson, and I am specializing in recovery from narcissistic abuse. We're here to talk about embracing the wonkiness that's going on in the world right now. So welcome, you guys. It's good to see you.
This comes at the perfect time because this whole week, this today especially, is one of those days that nothing seems to be going as planned. So,
True.
Embrace the miracles that we're even here right now.
we we are laughing because we have been spent the last half hour dealing with tech issues and all kinds of weirdness, and so we got the giggles. So you'll have to bear with us, but really, ultimately, laughing your way through is kind of sometimes the best thing you can do. Just be like, okay, it is what it is. We just laugh about it. We'll get through it. But I'd like to start with, we kind of started thinking about all the things that we're going through right now in the world, beginning with more and more people awakening to what's actually going on in this world. And awakening is scary and painful because the very, very first thing you notice is, oh my gosh, what is this? The air is, the air is polluted, the water is polluted, the food is polluted, and there's all these toxic systems in place everywhere that are holding us down, and it kind of gets a little freaky.
mhm.
So we thought today we would talk about it, like talk about the elephant in the room and about how we can right now start taking steps in our own lives to make things better. So let's start with you, Andy, because being a longevity expert, I know we've talked a lot about food and all the GMO food, the glyphosate, and all this stuff. So
Yeah,
weigh in.
it's sort of funny because this week I've been working with a health coach, a brand new friend, right? And our values, we line up very close and stuff like that. And then I said, hey, me and Minna would love to try your 3 month program. So we're enrolled in her 3 month program, and it's meant for women, but I'm just gonna do it anyway, right? So because I'm the one that cooks everything. So we've been into it 5 days, and I'm looking at the ingredients, and the ingredients she has are recipes. First of all, point on really good recipes. But it's sort of like when you're looking at the raw ingredients and you're buying it, man. It's sort of like you said. It's sort of hard to choose what is clean food anymore, right? Like a lot of stuff that I used to talk about as, like you mentioned, glyphosate, pesticides, and all these things. And what people don't realize, people thought I was a conspiracy theories back in the day. But like you said, you can call it people are waking up, whatever you want to call it, this movement, people are starting to realize a lot of these things that used to be conspiracy theories is coming out to be true, right? We're trying to ban glyphosate because glyphosate does cause cancer, right? And of course, they're fighting it, like the parent of whoever owned glyphosate. I don't want to start naming them, but they're fighting it, of course, because they got big money.
Right.
But the point is, it does cause cancer, and glyphosate is in everything. And even nowadays, when you're trying to buy organic, it's getting harder and harder because if you remember how back in school, the weather patterns, how it rains and stuff like that. Well, when it rains down, you get all the runoff, right? So if you have the non-organic gardens that's using glyphosate, all the runoff is going to run off somewhere. And then guess what? Usually you have farms side by side, one's organic, one's non-organic. All that water is going to run off to the organic. So even though you're not using glyphosate, automatically you're getting glyphosate now, right? And then the water evaporates from the ground, goes back up in the air, and then it rains again and comes right back down again, right? So it's this vicious circle that it's getting to be hard, to be honest, really hard to eat clean anymore.
Not to mention the fact that they spray us with chemtrails every day, which is coming down through the
Oh
atmosphere
yeah.
and soaking into the ground and the water and everthing else.
Exactly.
So,
There's a lot of studies of what's in those things too. Like, we
yeah.
don't want to go too crazy on this episode. Like I said, there is a lot of, chemicals, and stuff that's just really bad for us. And I think, to be honest, I think that's why so many people are having, that have asthma or hay fever. It's just acting up, even though, that used to be seasonal, but now it seems to be happening year round, even when the pollen's not flying around. Well, what's causing it? And then you go outside and wow, you see these pretty streams that are not clouds in the sky.
Gee, let's connect those little dots there.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, but you're right. We've been called conspiracy theorists. I've been talking about chemtrails for over 20
Mhm.
years. And people, I can't even tell you the abuse I've taken. And I always say, look up, believe your eyes.
Mhm.
So,
What I
but
find interesting, and it's the whole cycle of things, and as a gardener, being more aware of things. But where I live, we don't have a lot of trails in the air. We
No
really
kidding.
don't, because we're just, there's not much that crosses across this specific area. But I know in the early 90s, when I was in college in my rehabilitation, one of those classes, and they were talking about the um, the concentration of different diseases and situations.
Mhm.
And even in the early 90s, multiple sclerosis was already a hot point right up through the Midwest. And here we are between two rivers, the Mississippi River, and all of those contaminants and everything. But the Midwest is also the breadbasket of the world, and that's where the ag is. So even though we may not see as many stripes in the sky, where it is clearly in the groundwater, and even in the early 90s. And the idea that to have the same amount of nutrition, used to have 1 cup of spinach was great
Mhm.
and awesome in the 50s, and now you need like 6 cups,
Correct.
because we're not putting the good stuff back. We're over harvesting of
Mhm.
what we have, and that food waste that happens, and so I think there's a whole big cycle of things that are happening to our planet, that we're going for the biggest bestest crop, and not
Mhm.
necessarily looking at how it affects our bodies, both the
definitely,
food we directly take in, as well as the air we breathe and the water we drink and bathe in, and
yeah,
all of that.
definitely. GMO corn, the insects, if they eat it, they die.
Mhm.
Well, what does that tell you, folks? Because they don't die if they eat real corn.
You, it,
So,
it's funny you bring that up. I want to touch base a little bit on what Amanda says. About 1 cup of spinach back in the day. Now we need to eat 6 cups to get the same nutrition.
right.
But the only problem now is that 6 cups, not only you getting the nutrition, now you're eating 6 cups worth more of the pesticides and chemicals, right? So,
Yeah.
are you eating healthy, or you poisoning yourself, right?
Yeah.
Um, but when you're talking about GMO corn, there was a study. I have to dig it up. I saw it like 13 years ago. People were putting regular corn on cob outside, and they put the GMO corn. The squirrels that come and they'll eat the regular corn, and they do not touch the GMO.
Yeah.
So we're so like, wow, isn't that crazy? Like, like wildlife can tell the difference,
Yeah.
but us as humans, we have no clue, right? We got food in front of us that looks pretty, it smells good, and we're just gonna eat it. So it's crazy, how I think we no longer tap into our systems to know what is real and what isn't. We just believe that is good for us, right? And I think that that is a problem, and I think there should be a movement, a awakening for people to start realizing genetically engineered food. They say it's supposed to be better for the planet, but it's not better for you.
It's not better for the planet either.
Exactly.
If it's killing wildlife, if wildlife won't eat it, then it's not better for the planet.
Exactly.
And it's poisoning the soil and everything else. You just, it all works together. You can't separate things out. As much as they try to make you believe that, oh, if you have digestive issues, it has nothing to do with your heart. Of course not, because your body is not one whole unit. No, we're all little bits and pieces put together. Yeah. So, uh, I saw something about the guy. I think it was like the CEO of Campbell's Soup or something like that. And he flat out said, I would never eat this.
Yeah.
But so it's like, well, what's in there that makes it, people eat it? Because the way to get people to poison themselves is you make it taste good. And
just looking at how, when you look at the diet trends, and I think that one of the interesting threads I'm going to point out is everything that we've been talking about right now. We are not talking about a reel we saw this morning. We're not talking about anything that was published recently. We are all talking about historic data, historic reports before it was an algorithm. And so I think that that's something to be aware of. We've been talking about this, as far as I'm aware of. My information is going back nearly 40 years of information that we're talking about. And when we look at the shifts that happen in especially, the food that we eat, it was really trendy. We did they took chromium out of the white bread. And chromium regulates blood sugar. And so we took chromium out of white bread. Then we saw our instances of diabetes rise, diabetes type 2. We saw our obesity arise. Then we went to the, fat makes fat concept and belief that we distributed as part of the whole SAD diet. And so we took fat out of everything. And then what is a legal term to go on a label does not have anything to do sometimes with what it is. I mean, saying Tootsie Rolls are fat-free, and they've always been fat-free. But now, because you read that they're fat-free, you're going to eat them. And we saw that when we went to the fat-free diet fad, everyone gained weight as well. And that's because flavor, like you said, Kristy, you got to make things taste good. So flavor is either water-soluble or fat-soluble. And if you take the fat out of something, it no longer has flavor. And that's where they pump in the salt and the sugar, cane sugar, or high fructose, or whatever else they can do to create that flavorful sensation. And then they have started adding all those other ingredients that trick the brain into thinking that you're not full. So what you used to eat, and I know, myself, I've worked diligently to go to a clean style of eating. And I realize, the food I'm buying is more expensive, like per pound, per ounce, whatever. But I'm also eating a lot less of it.
Yes.
So my grocery budget is about the same. And due to crazy stuff happening in this whole wonk of the world, I've not been eating as clean as I usually do. And I have seen my own health issues kick up. I gotta get back on my own bandwagon and treat myself and my body so much better than I have been. But,
ditto.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that that's kind of culturally where we go to that food.
Yeah.
You're having a bad day, have a bowl of ice cream. You're having, whatever go on, have that extra cheese on your pizza. And walking in, what was the big McDonald's? I think it was McDonald's. If they said, do you want to supersize that?
Yeah.
And they did every single time.
Yeah.
And the studies that have been done, and it just seems that nobody's paying attention because they don't taste good and they don't feel good. If you follow the studies, then you're giving up some of the flavor, you're giving up some of the You are going to feel better in the long run, but it takes a shift to get out of that mindset, because that mindset is what is feeding you emotionally.
Yes. There's another shift that happens though, and that is that when you start to eat clean, you find your taste shifts and the junk starts to taste bad. Like I cannot. Can't even tell you how many years it's been since I've been to a McDonald's or something like that. It's all. I mean, even the thought of it just repulses me. And but we took a little trip the last week, and we stopped at a Wendy's because it was the only restaurant in this truck stop, and my mom got French fries, and I ate a couple of them, and I'm like, oh, these are terrible. What did they fry? Just awful. And I thought, this is, if I make them myself, which is not hard, French fries are easy. They taste really good. They taste like real food. And that's the other part of the shift. If you can get through the initial,
I can't have, and because you told yourself you can't have, now that's all you want to have, and that's all you focus on.
Right.
Where you focus, you grow. And if you focus on what you can't have, you're only going to want to have it that much more.
Exactly. Well, on that note, we're going to take a pause here, and please stay tuned. We're going to be right back and talk about more Wonky.
Everything we're made of contains light. From the sun that feeds our world to the energy that flows within us. With LifeWave X39, we've found a way to put that light to work. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHK-Cu, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality. By gently stimulating the skin with light, our non-invasive, non-transdermal X39 patches help you conquer your active lifestyle and pave a new way to vibrant health. Becoming a powerhouse is easier than you think. It all starts with your body and a little help from light. Place one LifeWave X39 patch on the body. Apply the patch to clean, dry skin in the morning. Patches may be worn for up to 12 hours before discarding. Keep well hydrated while using this product. Harness your natural potential. Reclaim youthful energy. Live long, live well, live young with LifeWave X39. Be the light. LifeWave.
She looks like she has it all together, but inside, she's exhausted, disconnected, and asking, is this really it? I'm Amanda Beth. I help visionary women shift from burnout to embodiment, from survival mode to soulful success. Through intuitive healing and aligned strategy, I guide them back to their power so they can lead with clarity, confidence, and calm.
I was floored at how effective and powerful and insightful everything was in this journey. She is amazing, and you should absolutely do it.
This isn't about pushing harder. This is about rising with purpose, prosperity, and peace.
Why do 98% of beauty enthusiasts rave about coolness? It's all in the blend of ancient wisdom and modern science. Introducing Coolness, Pearlescent Face and Eye Serum Cream. This powerhouse combines the antioxidative power of schisandra berries, the glow of pearl powder, and the hydrating wonders of dragon's blood extract. It's like a time machine for your skin, making it radiant, firm, and oh so smooth. Inspired by ancient Chinese traditions and backed by modern nutritional science, This serum cream is perfect for dry, mature, and aging skin. It's time to unlock your inner glow with coolness. Treat your skin to the best of both worlds today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life Show. I'm Kristy Boyd Johnson, and I'm here today with Andy Nam and Amanda Beth. And I was thinking during the break, awakening, we kind of I think it starts with our physical. I think it starts with, I don't feel good and I want to feel better. And then when we start making changes, it evolves into something deeper. Like, I'm not happy. I'm tired of working at that dead-end job. I'm tired of coming home on Friday night and stopping at the pizza parlor to get 3 pizzas for my family because I'm so exhausted that I can't function, And I was contemplating, how as we awaken to what's going on, how that kind of evolves, because it always starts feeling negative. It starts with, what? This horror show is going on around me and I'm just becoming aware. And so how do you guys kind of cope when everything crashes in and you have to regroup in here to feel better and then start making progress again and keep on track?
Well, I'll take that one. So I think that, first of all, there is that awakening that you realize that what you're doing day in, day out, that wash and repeat, doesn't feel good anymore. For a lot of us, for myself, everything on the outside looked good. Anybody looking in would go, well, got the ideal life, the education, the cars, the kids, the business, the everything. But taking it and giving yourself that permission to look inside. How do I feel? Do I like this job? Do I like this life? Do I like what has been created? And what I see is people start to really disconnect. I'm going to go to the 9 to 5, or someone termed it as a 3D job. I'm going to go to my 3D job because I have bills to pay and there's things that you have to do. But then starting to feel that shift inside, you're promised, you go to school, you get that 4-year degree or more, and you're going to have this great job. And I think that's one of the first big lies we get, that at turning 16, turning 21, and now you graduate from college and you start really looking at all the things that you were told and where do they really sit with what you believe. Because now as an adult, you have that freedom. And so a lot of times when I'm working with folks, I'm working with, how do you claim it? How do you take it back? How do you reclaim it? And the first part is owning that, and to say reclaim means you lost something, but maybe you never had it in the first place. But looking at how you feel good. And sometimes when we look inside, we don't see the picture we thought we saw. We see what's really going on there. And sometimes it's a bitter pill to swallow, because a lot of the awakening process is realizing that so many things that you were heard and you embodied and you believed were given to you with good intentions, but they just don't really fit who you really are. And so giving yourself that permission to really look, and where are you, and what do you want to be doing? How do you want to structure your life? And that doesn't mean you sell everything and go to an island, although this week that would have been a really nice choice.
I'm already there. I'm ready. I'm so ready.
But then how do you process this? How do you wake up one morning, it's like, oh, everything is fake.
Yeah.
And I think that when you start to realize that, you need to really start looking at, where are you getting your information? We aren't looking things up in encyclopedias. We're not going to libraries. We don't attend things in person anymore, and that's why I really, everything is text. You get emails, you get all of this stuff. There's not that human connection anymore. And I think that we're really, really missing that. because everything is, oh, I heard, I saw, I read. Well, where did you read it? Where did you read it? Where is your source? Because as soon as you find that on social media, as soon as you click on it, I don't care which platform you're on,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get more of the same thing, and it's just going to be confirmation bias. So, is this really true, or is this true because it's what I want to believe? And I work really diligently to look at every day as a learning moment, every day as a gift, and what can I learn that's new today? How can I challenge my beliefs? If it's on food and health, if it's on spirituality, if it's on different religious backgrounds and different things. I have a friend currently that we just about every day have a theology discussion. No one's trying to convert anybody, and I think that that's where we need to learn to live in our own space.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I want Andy to believe everything I believe. I don't need Kristy to believe everything that I believe. But I need to understand why I believe what I believe and how it affects me. That's my take.
That's valid. And learning, and the little deeper part of that is then communicating with people without it turning into this big battle, like you have to believe what I think or else you're evil and we're going to crush you. And there's so much of that ridiculous. It's just utter nonsense.
And we're going back to the platforms. The platforms have a purpose. I mean, we talked about conspiracy theory. I really think that is part of it's taking us away from those one-on-one interactions where we get to actually interact with a person, and we're seeing things. And I had a friend send me several video clips, and they were all saying the same thing, but they were all AI generated. So one was a doctor, one was a female, one was a man, and it was exactly the same information, which would make a person who's not really paying attention think that all these different types of people think the same thing. That gives you that confirmation bias.
Right.
And so where are you getting your information, and how can you validate it? Because I think as soon as you go into that thing, you're only finding what you asked for. You're not finding the other side of that.
And then there's the news, which this again was quite a while ago. They exposed all these different major stations across the United States, and every script was identical. So every broadcaster that's supposedly a journalist is actually a paid actor reading a script. And the way they make news, I've kind of thought about this, like the way they make news seem like it's real is by doing local events. Because why would they lie about that? There's some big community event going on that's really cool. Yeah, of course they want everyone to know. They want everyone to go there and spend their money and everything. And it makes it seem like the news is legit. But how can it be legit if they're paid actors reading a script that's given to them by who?
Well, it's whoever owns it. I mean, if I own any business I own, what my employees represent is my values. And so I think this comes down to the same thing with the news media. There used to be that freedom of speech was so highly respected, and you could see several different viewpoints within the same newspaper. Well, newspapers aren't even being printed anymore, but so you're going online, and the algorithms and everything is tracking every single movement.
Right.
So you're just getting more of the same thing that you were looking at, and it doesn't give you that variety, the spice of life. So I think it's really important to just find your way, and find, you talked about if you have one opinion, other people don't agree with you. I think that's kind of part of what feels like a bigger plan to continue to create further division in people.
Hmm.
You know, if Kristy can keep Andy and I warring and arguing over a point, Kristy can do whatever she wants to do because Andy and I are so involved in our own argument
Right.
that we're unaware. I think they call that what, wags a
It's
tail.
it's the white. It's the pay no attention to the man behind the curtain,
Yeah.
from Wizard of Oz. This big scary thing, and it's just this little guy behind a curtain, you know.
Well, and
But
we
that,
see that, and see that repeated in so many things. And I was
yep,
having a conversation with someone the other day. I love having deep conversations with people where we can just talk about what it is we think and we're open to hearing it, you
yes,
know? And then we were comparing movie plots, and it's like, well, wasn't there a movie about? And it's like, yeah. And it's like, well, there was this one, 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 this one. It's like, yeah, they all have the same thing: good
right,
versus evil. You know, it's this, and and looking at how many times we watch those movies.
yeah.
How many times are we indoctrinating ourselves in that versus looking inside and seeing what we are bringing to the table, not what's prescribed to us?
Exactly. You know, back to what you said about if I made you guys, you know, I whisper in Andy's ear and I whisper in your ear and you keep you guys fighting. That's called triangulation, and it's one of the narcissist's tools, weapons, and it is everywhere in our society. And one of the biggest examples is red versus blue, because I swear they took all the issues, split it in half, and said, red, you're going to go this way, blue, you're going to go this way, and keep everyone doing this.
Correct.
When in fact, if you talk to people as humans, everybody actually feels the same way. Everybody wants a good life for themselves and their children. They want healthy food. They want clean water. They want to live in peace. Everybody. And all this revving people up over stuff that doesn't matter is all a design to keep you distracted from the man behind the curtain and what they're doing. Andy, you might remember this, but years ago, that you guys will both remember, when they had this big issue over gay marriage. It's like, really, who cares? If two people want to be together, who cares if they're men, women, or both, or whatever? Who cares? And but that was the distraction for the dark law they passed through, which is basically, we don't have to tell you what's in your food anymore. The labels don't have to be real.
Yeah.
And they slid that through while everyone was distracted with, oh, gay marriage, which is a non-issue.
I agree. I agree. In the beginning of this segment, you're talking about how everyone's feeling, and of course, there's just so much noise. Like sort of what Amanda says. Like there's so much noise right now, and everyone's feeling bad one way or another, either through their thoughts, through what they're eating, and stuff like that. But the biggest problem, like sort of what Amanda is saying, is everyone's no longer listening to their body. They're going online and saying, hey, they're just saying, what are you doing for this? What are you doing for that? Everyone's looking for the quick silver bullet, right? Like right now, everyone wants to lose weight. Everyone's on this darn Ozempic train, right? And, this will be a whole hour if I want to talk how bad that is for you. Everyone just wants to get skinny, and now you got like the paid actresses, the paid athletes that's doing it, and they are getting paid to push it, but they're not obviously not taking it, because you look at their muscle tone, their face, there's certain characteristics of what you look like when you take Ozempic. You get like the skeleton in the face because you're losing all the collagen, right? You're losing all the muscle. Right? It doesn't actually burn fat. It burns your muscle.
Oh,
Right? And what they don't tell you, this is a lifelong drug, because as soon as you stop, within 3 to 6 months, you gain all the weight back plus more.
right.
So you're on this forever. And after a year and a half, it stops working anyway. So now you have to use a different derivative of it. Right. But meanwhile, you're having all these symptoms that's going on, and it's, oh well, we got a drug for this, we got a drug for that. Oh, you got dementia, you got headaches, we got this, we got that. So, stop looking for that quick fix. And what Amanda says is, it's sort of scary with all these algorithms that you follow. As soon as you click on that first ad, now you got this whole algorithm that's gonna push down that line. Oh, well, there's this for this, this for this, this for this. And you just stop listening to your body. Your body is so smart. It's always telling you, well, I just ate this and it doesn't agree with me, but you're not listening. You're just going to say, oh, type in a Dr. Google, whatever. Oh, I have a stomach ache. Oh, well, you need to do this or you need to do that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy for me, when we're talking about longevity, and of course I look at more of the physical side, I really believe that our bodies do have the ability to give you the red alerts. Hey, something's wrong. Let's just stop and reassess. Was it your sleep? Was it your exercise? Was it your food? Right. And it's not a matter of counting calories, because I saw this Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. And basically they held a donut and they held an avocado, right? Both of them have the same calories. Which one you think is healthier for you, right? So counting calories.
Donut. I go for donut.
Exactly, right?
Then I'm gonna have a stomach ache, because of the grease, and then I'm gonna get a sunburn because of the grease, and but we're just gonna keep adding things. Yep, I'll Google it away.
Right.
Or ChatGPT
those
it
are my
away.
thoughts.
Yeah, ChatGPT. But and they keep pushing you bring up the AI components. And then there's the whole, who's running those AI components? How does that happen? And I watched a reel. But if it makes sense, we talk about, so here in the Midwest we have lots of open spaces and they're being bought out and they're putting in, we're losing our electricians because they're going to drive 2.5 hours one way to this place to be the electrician on staff for one of those big hubs that supports the AI. The amount of electricity that it is consuming, the amount of natural resources, the water alone that it is consuming in order to keep the equipment cooled off so it can keep doing the things. And it's even if we all quit using AI, quit using your Gemini, quit using your, navigate to the nearest grocery store, stop doing all of those things. Those people have pitted those AI systems to continue to engage in conversations, to continue to grow themselves. So even if we got every person to quit using that, which I don't see happening, but if we did, it's just like, think about where it comes from. Follow the money, follow the source, how does this, and that's the mindful eating. How does this blueberry get to my plate? Who picked it? Who processed it? Who washed it? Who weighed it out? Who put it in the package? Who drove the truck to the store? Who unpacked it? Think of all those connections, and now think about how all of those connections connect everything else that's connected.
Yes, and I hate to interrupt you, Amanda, but it's time for us to take a quick break. But stay tuned, because we're going to start talking about some easy steps we can all take right now. So stay tuned.
Is your skin aging, dry, tired, and dull? Are you putting on more and more makeup to cover the fine lines and flaws? Now you don't have to. Coolness Skincare, developed by a middle-aged woman just like you. 2 years in formulating, Pearlescent Face and Eye Serum Cream with Schisandra berries and dragon's blood extract for your face, eye, and neck. And the vegan version, Deep Love Face Cream, featuring powerful blue tansy. This face cream is everything you are looking for. Feel your beauty. Visit coolness.com or scan the QR code for more information.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Chronically
Crazy
Healthy
glitch.
Tech Glitches. We are embracing the wonky on today's show, and this week has been a little wonky for all of us, and so we decided to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Tech glitches and all kinds of fun stuff happening. Yes, we were talking about our physical, mental, emotional well-being and how it's affected by all this stuff coming at us from every direction. And how the only true way to really feel if something is true for you is to go deep within. You have to breathe and you have to feel it for yourself. One really easy example is food, because some people, I personally, I'm not good with grains. I eat grains, whether they're organic or not or whatever. I do not do well with them. If I stay away from grains, I can pretty much eat anything else. And but someone else might be a vegetarian that has a different experience with that. Mm-hmm. You have to go with yourself, and it's not about what they think about you. It's what you think about yourself. Mm-hmm. And Andy, you talk a lot about the exercising. Like, this person over here, maybe they can do 20 burpees in a row, and this person, that would kill them. Like me, for example, whereas this person over here needs to do yoga, or that mm-hmm. person over there needs to take walks. You know, we have to find them for ourselves. And that's the key. That's the key.
I love that. One of the things that I always talk about is bio-individuality, right? We all are slightly different. And that's why when people say, which is the best diet? I say they're all good, right? As long as you're getting what your body needs out of that diet, right? Because, what you say is perfect. Some people can eat grains all day long. They have no problems with blood sugar. They have no problems of gut problems because their bodies can break it down. But me or you, if we start eating grains, I get bloated, mm-hmm. I get tired, headaches. Right? The headaches, right? And because our bodies can't process it, or our bodies just doesn't like it, right? And once again, that's so important, listening to the body. If the body's telling you, stop eating this crap, stop eating it just because so-and-so says they can eat it. Good for them, yeah. Right? So I think that is so impactful. And for exercise, it's so true, right? Listen to your body, find what works for you. It's more important to do something consistently that you enjoy than, I do not enjoy burpees, by the way. I only do that once a year, for testing. But
I saw your post.
You need to find something that you enjoy, right? Because otherwise you're not going to do it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, Amanda goes out and gardens. I like to take walks outside in nature, but gardening for me would be very difficult, being like, if you're kneeling.
That is hard work, man. I tell you, I have a lot of respect for people that garden and farmers. That's all I can say.
Me too. Me too.
I think it's seasonal, though.
That's true.
But again, like you said, gardening is hard work. There's a lot of calories. There's a lot of movements and everything. And mm-hmm. so you go into gardening as if it is exercise. So
yes,
the days that you crawl out of bed and show up in the garden patch are harder than the days that you wake up, you do some stretches and you get into mm-hmm. it, and then you stretch afterwards as well, because these are muscles you haven't used. It's kind of like getting your combine out. It's used really hard for 1 month out of the year. And gardening is, so how you do what you do, We talked earlier about listening to your body. I will go out and I will garden, and I'm learning better to garden a few hours at a time rather than knocking out 8, 10 hours at a time and not being able to do anything for a week.
Right.
But knowing what your limits are, knowing what you need to do, and having everything prepared. And if you have one good day of weather and you're going to have to put in a 6 or 10 hour day gardening, then clear your calendar so you have time to rest and reset and know your body and know what fuels you need, how much water do you need to compensate with, and the electrolytes and all of those things.
Right. So I've in terms of awakening again, one of the things that I think awakens a lot of people is watching their kids enter the education system. Because it is a government system. Make no mistake about it. And I've been away from it, well, when they shut down for COVID, which is a whole different, talk about control and manipulation. I've been subbing here in this district where I live, and I can't believe how it's every teacher so say grade 2, for example, they teach the exact same material in the exact same way for all the second graders. There's no individuality. There's no creativity. They have improved the way they teach phonics, finally, after experimenting with creating an illiterate society. But the math is still just a big mess. And the writing is literally copy down what this says. How is copying learning to write? Writing is about thought. It's about reading something, thinking it through, expanding on it, looking for more sources. So why are we teaching kids just to copy something down? That's not right.
And that, as a parent, is such a huge insult when your kids go off to school. And I've said it and my daughters are 10 years apart. You send your kid to school on kindergarten day, and you're just proud as punch, and they send someone else's kid home. It just really, really changes. And then with all of the AI components and everything, people are handing over their power. When you start asking every time a question comes up, I have a headache, what should I do? I don't know. What did you do 5 years ago?
Yeah.
You drank some water, you took a nap, you laid down, you got out of the bright sunlight. Oh, maybe you took an aspirin. Why do you need to Google that now? This isn't anything new. Why are you searching it? But it's creating a level of dependence. And when we have kiddos who are given that access, and like you said, copying down the words instead of saying, write for 10 minutes. And that way you get to experience all the different characters and all of the things, as well as using your own mind.
Right.
We are slow. And so you have this illiterate society that's been created, and they're now handed this whole AI. So, and I would say I'm part of that illiterate, but mine comes with some other things as well, that learning was very difficult for me. So now the whole temptation of AI is just absolutely incredible. But I do see where that dependence is coming. People are no longer thinking for themselves.
Right.
How do I put this piece of furniture together? No one's looking at the furniture. They just immediately look for online instructions.
Right.
Use your brain, people. Use your brain.
And I have to disagree with you, Amanda. You are not illiterate. So yes, no, you are not. This is true, and it is frustrating. It is very frustrating, and the teachers are just as much in the trap as the kids are. But I had the experience yesterday of I'm working with the special ed department, and they're a behavior group. These kids with these behaviors. Well, I got in trouble because I pulled a kid out who was in tears. Now, as a resource teacher, I read that as this child is overwhelmed and frustrated and melting down and needs a break. And it's like, no, he's manipulating you. I'm like, he's 8 years old. He's not manipulating me. Sorry, but he's not. I know manipulation when I see it. He's in tears. He's so frustrated. And I took him out and I was able to correct the situation and get him to understand how he could deal with it. And then we went back to class and I got in trouble because it's like, he's a behavior kid. You have to make him do it for himself. And I'm thinking, he's 8 years old. When did teaching become be a rigid, you got to do it our way and no matter what, and you can't think for yourself and you have to do it this way and bleh. It's just, and the teachers yell at the kids all the time, and I'm thinking, this is not good.
Well,
This
kudos
is
to you,
not
Kristy,
healthy.
because I could not go into that situation. When substitute teaching positions opened here, and I'm qualified to do that, and I said to my daughter, I said, I might apply for that. She goes, Mom, I don't want you in jail. I could not do it. I really could not.
It's tough.
Christy, it is funny. I saw this clip of, I think it was elementary school teacher, right? And she says, I'm done with the education system. So like we said, because it's getting so difficult,
Yeah.
you're training kids to just not think. They're just copying and you're writing
Yeah.
stuff. And, just bouncing off Amanda a little bit, English was my second language. And I
Yeah.
remember how hard it was when homework was write an assignment on, on the hibernation process or whatever, right? I'm just making shit up. But nowadays, the teacher is saying, everyone's essays are the same because they're using AI to write it.
Right.
No one has any creativity anymore, right? They're just getting AI to write. So now they're not even learning. In
Right.
class, they're not learning. Now the homework, they're just getting AI to do it. So,
Right.
so a lot of things that both of you are saying, it's getting very scary because, growing up, that's where all the growth is as a kid, right? You
Yeah.
you got your fantasy, you got, your imaginary friends, and that's where you have the growth. And now there's no, is this a proper word, Christy? Individualism. I don't even know how to say it, but
Individualism. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
right. Everyone is just a copy of each other,
Yeah.
right? And oh my God, what's going to happen? Are we all going to be drones by the time we're 20 and just listen to someone telling you to do what to do, as opposed to like the three of us? Is like that doesn't make sense.
It
Hey,
doesn't make sense.
let me look into this, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's lost that critical thinking, and I think what we're talking about today, it is something that's very important because if something feels off, question it.
Yes.
Question it.
Well, the other thing with the kids is that they're being yelled at and made to feel that they're always wrong. So what are they also learning? They're also learning they cannot trust their own feelings. And that is not cool. So parents out there who are trust your kids. I mean, yes, kids can be, tricky sometimes. Yes. I mean, we've all dealt with that. But but there's a difference between kids being kids and kids being controlled. Those are two different things. So, but since we're running out of time here, what's one thing that we could do right now today to improve our own lives and our kids' lives in an easy way? Andy, something physical.
Something physical. Find something that you enjoy doing and do more of it. Just 5-10 minutes. A lot of people says you need to do 30 minutes to 1 hour exercise. No, I believe maybe 10-20 minutes. 5-10 minutes might not be enough. 10-20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. And just, it could be gardening, could be going around for a walk, or it could be burpees.
Oh, 20 minutes for burpees.
It's a lot for burpees already. But, find something that you enjoy, right? Otherwise, you're not going to do it. And I think movement is important.
Yeah. Amanda, what's one spiritual connection thing we could do right now to help us improve? And
I'm going to throw out the vastly misunderstood word of meditation. And meditation means, to me, it means finding quieting that mind chatter. And we have so much of it going on in so many things. That does not mean sitting in some funky picture position, holding your fingertips. That means disconnecting. That means, doing, for me, oftentimes it's crocheting or coloring, drawing, doing something that is not extra input in the brain, that just allows you to find that quietness, that stillness, to really connect with yourself and then follow it. Follow it. And even if you can do, 5-10 minute breaks of it, you can do breath work, you can do all kinds of things, but just find that quiet space.
Oh, excellent. And emotionally, my biggest tip is when your emotions are telling you something, listen. Believe yourself. Believe your eyes, believe your feelings, because your body knows and you will not betray yourself. People will lie to you, but if your body's going, something's wrong here, listen. And the more you do it and the more you meditate and the more you spend 15, 20 minutes doing something you love, things get better gradually, easily, effortlessly. And suddenly you notice you're happier.
Yes.
So that's what we want, a chronically healthy life. So Andy, how can people out there find us?
I think the best way for people to find us is youtube.com at Chronically Healthy Life, or you can watch past episodes on e360tv.com on the Vitality Network. But,
They can email us through there too, right?
yes, they
Chronically
can.
Healthy Life.
They can email us at chronicallyhealthylife.com, Andy at chronicallyhealthylife.com, right? And thank you for this episode. It was an interesting episode, but I think it really resonated with the three of us this week.
Yeah, well, it was a wonky week, that's for sure. So for everyone having a wonky week, we're glad you joined us here. And let's go on and determine to live a chronically healthy, fabulously authentic life. See you next time.
See you next week.
Bye.